go, Brandon.
Hey guys, a lot of stuff still coming out about the Uvalde rampage killing this past week. The anti-gun movement, it's big business. They make a lot of money off of it. They've not stopped. They have pounced on this and they're making money. They are not shameful about it. They have gone right out and been fundraising from the get-go. I mean, the moment bodies were hitting the ground, they had fundraisers online. Well, it looks like their spread of ignorance, I hate to say this, I don't want to say they're winning, but they're certainly getting across. There is Larry Gatlin of the famed Gatlin brothers. I know he is country and western because I've heard the name Gatlin Brothers before. I don't recognize the songs that they said that he's known for. Apparently, if he's one of the Gatlin brothers, the other brother must be the smarter one because he doesn't seem real bright. And I assume he's not hip hop, just a judgment call on my part. He is backing out. Apparently he was going to play at the NRA annual meeting this weekend in Houston, Texas. I don't know anything about that because I'm not a country music fan. So him not being there is not going to bother me any. It's how he's decided not to be there. That's the most bothersome to me. This is the statement from an ignorant person. And I don't mean that in an overly negative way, like we say, he's ignorant. I mean that from a definitive way, the actual definition of the word ignorant. Listen to this comment, this statement by him, and you'll know exactly what I mean. The guy's wrong, and he's ignorant on a topic. His statement reads, "To my fellow sad Americans, I cannot in good conscience perform at the NRA convention in Houston this weekend. While I agree with most of the positions held by the NRA, I have come to believe that while background checks would not stop every madman with a gun, it is at the very least a step in the right direction toward trying to prevent the kind of tragedy we saw this week in Uvalde, in my beloved Weeping, Texas." Okay, I got to stop right there. He doesn't know what he's talking about. The anti-gun profiteers have done an absolutely astounding job of convincing a guy who tried to position himself as a conservative and has always tried to sell himself as a Second Amendment supporter and a true conservative, but he's too ignorant to know that we already have background checks. He doesn't know that. That means that the voice is louder from the anti-gun business side of this world. They have made so much money off of bodies being put in the ground that they can afford to overwhelm social media and all other forms of media, so much so that they get a guy who is supposedly being championed as a Second Amendment conservative, they have convinced him of something that is not true. He is repeating an untruth. Now, I don't think he's lying. I think he's just ignorant. You want to call him stupid? You can call him stupid. Because you don't soiree in to a world that you haven't vetted yet. What I mean by that is he just doing the NRA thing for money? Because anytime I'm invited to speak or do anything for anybody, I vet the hell out of them. I want to know what they stand for, what they're behind, and all that. If this man truly had a problem with the NRA not supporting background checks, which is not true, I'm no huge proponent of the NRA, but I know where the NRA stance is on background checks, and all Larry had to do was ask somebody from the NRA, do we have background checks? And they would have told him yes. What he's talking about is what he has been spoon-fed by the slave masters on the left that have puppets and slaves like Larry at their beck and call, doing their bidding for them. He's talking about private gun sales. That's all. They used to call it the gun show loophole. Now they just say we don't have background checks. And dummies like Gatlin believe it. So again, no skin off my back that Gatlin is not going to be performing this weekend in Houston. But it's based on ignorance, and that's sad to me. And this is one of those buts, one of these but guys. He goes on to say, it is not a perfect world, and the if-only crowd's policies will never make it one. I am a what-if guy, and I can't help but ask the question, what if the teachers had been proficient in the use of firearms and had, in fact, been armed this week? My answer is that there would not be 21 freshly dug graves for 21 of God's precious children. You're right on that, Larry. But you know what? You need to do a little bit more investigating next time, because clearly you don't know what you're talking about as far as background checks that we already have. He goes on to say, my prayers and thoughts go to all who are suffering, and I pray that the NRA will rethink some of its outdated and ill thought out positions regarding firearms in America. Larry, before you try, and again, I am no proponent of the NRA. Guys, I'm the Louisiana State Director of Gun Owners of America. I actually work with a completely different organization, gun rights organization. However, the NRA is not wrong on this. He talks about the NRA rethinking some of its outdated and ill thought out positions. That's not what the case is on here. The NRA supports what we already have, and they don't support universal background checks, which is what the left is trying to push out there. And his last sentence is the one where we know without a doubt that we do not have a Second Amendment supporter on our hands with this country Gatlin boy. I'm a Second Amendment guy, but the Second Amendment should not apply to everyone. It's that simple. No, it's not that simple. It's really simple enough to know that the Second Amendment does apply to everyone. Now, if you think someone should not have their fundamental rights to a firearm, then you find a way that they have broken the law, or that for some reason they're mentally adjudicated where they cannot actually own a firearm. This guy, if the law enforcement folks had done their due diligence, apparently this guy had not broken any laws and didn't deserve to have that fundamental constitutional right taken from him. So Larry, you're wrong on this one. Larry Gatlin, you are an ignorant man. We don't need you or want you on our side. We will see you again on CNN and all these other wacko places, because you will now become their champion.
Let's go, Brandon.